Yeah, well, firefighters here have been fighting what's probably felt like a losing battle at times. As one fire comes under control, another one spreads further. More than 700 firefighters, including reinforcements from Cyprus, Israel and France, have been deployed here to help tackle the blaze. But even then, people say there aren't enough resources to tackle what's going on here. Tomorrow, firefighters from Britain will arrive. Of course, wildfires in Greece aren't unheard of, but what's different this year is the intensity of the fires and the speed in which they've spread, caused in a large part by the heat wave that's happening at the moment, the most intense in 30 years. People here say they've never felt heat like it before. The good news is the wind that's been helping spread the fire has died down a bit. It is due to return, and people here have been warned not to become complacent. But the focus at the moment is on the island of Evia, where, as we speak, people are being evacuated. And those who were evacuated last night looked back in horror as their homes burned. In the middle of the night, it became clear they could stay no longer. Residents from the village of Limni on the Isle of Evia were told they had to leave, dragging with them the few worldly possessions they had time to pack. Those unable to walk were brought to safety on garden chairs, the urgency of the moment disguising the enormity of what they're leaving behind. Only when they were safe does it begin to sink in. As the evacuation boat pulls away, a panoramic view of the apocalyptic inferno devouring their homes. On the mainland, just north of Athens, a similar scene of devastation as fire engulfs the village of Thrakomacedonius. As one woman screams for help from an overwhelmed fire brigade, others grab buckets to try and keep the fire at bay themselves. Emergency services have been battling over 50 fires scattered across the country since Tuesday. The government has been criticised for not clearing trees from the ground that fell during the unusually heavy snowfall in February. But now the most intense heat wave in 30 years has dried everything out, acting as fuel to the fire, which is then spread further by winds that carry the flames from village to village. By morning, the worst of it has been brought under control, but in the searing heat, they know the threat has not yet passed. The fire ripped through this area through the night. You can see it in parts, the ground is still smouldering. They're now out with this huge hose, trying to dampen everything down to stop the fire from reigniting. Just a mile over there, the fire is still raging. Neighbours here said they were up all night, out with their garden hoses to try and stop the fire from reaching their houses.
Ήρθα και εγώ με τον άλλο μου το γιο το μεγάλο και φωνάξαμε την πυροσβεστική, αλλά δεν είχαν μάνικες. Ούτως ώστε να φτάνουν πάνω, γιατί έχει πάρει σκεπή. Έτσι. Γιατί υπάρχουν μεγάλα πεύκα, βλέπετε, τα οποία πετάνε τα κουκουνάρια. Και με αυτόν τον τρόπο έτσι παίρνουν φωτιά.
The natural disaster has reignited a conversation about climate change in the country. The Greek Prime Minister has told people to come and see for themselves if they had any doubts that the climate crisis is real.
This is the biggest fire, I think, that ever happened in Attica region.
What do you put the fire down to?
I would blame climate change because this heat wave that we had for about 10 days now, it's big. Okay, Greece is a hot country, but not like this.
All predictions suggest that intense heat waves and wildfires like these will become normal. That looming reality overshadowed by the urgency of now as more villages are evacuated and people do whatever small act they can to extinguish smoke still coming from the ground that threatens to reignite at any moment.